Hello. So in this video we're going to demonstrate the ev360 SAP evaluation or testing platform. This is a software program that we developed that will automatically deliver and make available to the student the applicable speed tests in speed as well as number of minutes based on where the student is starting at in the program. So when we go into our course site, we're going to be looking for the ev360 SAP evaluation tests section. And for a student, you're going to be looking for the SAP evaluation test link. These two grayed out links are not visible in the student view, and those are for faculty and staff. And that's the link that they will use to provide their grading and feedback to you after you submit your test. So for a student, we're going to go into Launch ev360 SAP Evaluations, and we're going to go down into the area in terms of what's called Attempt Evaluations, that choice link. But before we do that, I want to explain to you the system that has been set up. We have a platform that allows students to access and attempt all unique tests. They're unfamiliar tests. There are no duplicates. A test library for literary, jury charge, and two-voice testimony. Each of those categories has a speed range starting at 60 words per minute, and for literary, the high-speed test range goes up to 180 words per minute. For jury charge, the highest speed is 200 words per minute for tests. And for two-voice testimony, there is the maximum speed of 225. Those are the RPR certification requirements, and that's what certified schools, most court reporting programs have those as their exit speeds in terms of the highest speed range. So our testing platform contains something that is unique to the ev360 platform. No other testing platform approaches testing this way. And when we designed this, we wanted to create a testing platform that allowed students to have more opportunity to succeed as they went through a speed level. And so what we did is we, instead of utilizing what we would call the traditional approach to testing, where if a student started out at 60 words per minute after they've learned their theory, they would immediately start testing and trying to pass tests at a 5-minute marker of endurance. And that's fine when you first enter into your initial speed level, but when a student then passes that 5-minute test, the traditional approach to testing is to move them into a new speed level. We do 20 word per minute increments, so students would then immediately start testing at 80 words per minute, knowing that they've passed their 60s. The problem with that approach is that they immediately start trying to pass tests at 5 minutes of endurance. And what we have found over the years that we've been teaching court reporting is that that's not how a student progresses, number one, and number two, rarely does a student who just enters into a new speed level, do they have the endurance ability to start passing tests at 5 minutes in length at a newer speed level. So the traditional method of attempting tests at 5-minute only markers is basically setting students up to fail most of the time as they progress through a speed level. So when I am a student who just passes a 5-minute 60 word per minute test, I don't have the ability to immediately pass a 5-minute 80 word per minute test. So what I'm going to do in that scenario is I'm going to work on my speed building and skill development, but every time I attempt an 80 word per minute 5-minute test, chances are I'm not going to pass it. And we as students, when we don't pass something in court reporting school, we call it a failure. I failed my test. I didn't progress in my test, I attempted a test, I didn't get the requisite percentage of accuracy, and I failed it. And that creates a lot of problems for people as they're progressing through, trying to progress through court reporting school. We as human beings have a very difficult time sustaining a level of failure day in and day out if that's how we're looking at tests, and if that's the system that I've been placed into. So failing every time I transcribe a test at 5 minutes is something that is extremely discouraging, not only for the student, but it's also very discouraging for the support system the student has. So as a court reporting student, we transcribe a test, we submit it, we don't pass, we think we failed it. We are asked by our support system, how did you do on your test? You didn't pass it. They think you're a failure as well, because society looks at most tests as being like traditional academic type tests. You get an A, B, C, D, or F, and everything above an F is considered a pass. Anything at an F or below is considered a failure. Well, in court reporting tests, we either pass or we fail. And the traditional 5-minute approach to testing puts us as students in a situation to where we are going to fail most of the time. We only get to pass one test before we move up to a speed level on a 5-minute marker. Human nature is going to be, I pass my 60, why do I want to keep taking more 60s? I've already passed that. I want to get through court reporting school as quickly as possible, so I'm going to immediately start trying to pass my 80s. And if the only opportunity I have is a 5-minute test, I know I may not pass it, but I'm going to try it anyway, and most of the time those are non-passes or failures. We don't look at a non-pass test as a failure. I'm using that as an example of how it's typically perceived and looked at as a student. So when we designed our testing platform, we decided to create a mechanism to allow students to attempt tests in the way that their skill is naturally developing, and we develop our skill to endure a certain amount of writing at a new speed for lengths of time. So we broke down our testing platform into what we call 1-minute increments. So a student who passes that 5-minute 60 word per minute test is going to immediately start trying to pass 1-minute 80 word per minute tests. That is something that is much more sustainable in writing when you advance into a new speed level. So you're going to attempt a 1-minute test. When you get a 91% on a 1 minute, that then allows you to then begin focusing on 2 minutes in terms of a writing endurance. And we're wanting students to get a 92% on 2-minute tests, a 93% on 3-minute tests, a 94 on 4-minute tests, and a 95 at 5 minutes. So when you get a 95 at 5, you go on to another speed level. So in that scenario, we are putting a student in a situation, a testing situation, to where they are actually passing tests as they are getting to that 5-minute level of endurance, as opposed to failing everything from the moment you enter into a new speed level and ultimately pass that new speed level. So we call the testing platform SAPs, and that actually stands for success as you're progressing, and that's why they're called SAPs. So again, the philosophy is that we want students passing tests as they're progressing through a speed level, and there's a totally different mindset in terms of what's going on when students are actually succeeding as they're going through a speed level, and they're not only succeeding for themselves, but again, going back to that very important support system, other people are involved in the educational journey of progressing in speed, and it's much more fun, it's much more pleasant, it's much more easy to endure trying to pass court reporting skill development tests when we know we are succeeding at something and we are able to share those successes with other people that are interested in our progress in school. So that's the philosophy behind our testing platform. As you see on the screen, we have a library of tests that are for each minute within each category within each speed. There's 15 1-minute tests, there's 30 at 2, there's 45 at 3, there's 60 at 4, and there's 75 tests at 5-minute marker, again, in each speed, in each category. So there's a library of unique, different tests that is, I think, in quantity over 7,500 tests. So what we're going to want to now do as we move beyond the philosophy of the testing platform, we're going to go ahead and go in the next video. I'm going to show you how you can actually attempt an evaluation and how you can then, after you've attempted that evaluation, submit your transcription and receive feedback from your teacher beyond what you're seeing as an initial graded result. So that's the philosophy in terms of why the SAP system was designed the way it is and how you can benefit more by succeeding utilizing a 1 through 5 minute approach to testing as opposed to the traditional 5-minute approach to testing. Thank you.